Hello Athlon Nation, this is Jeff with Athlon Optics. I'm here today with Dustin, who's one of our newer members on our team. We're going to talk mainly about getting out to 1,000 yards and how to select a scope to do that. Figured out the basics of the ballistics and what kind of arc you need to get there and how much.
What are you using to figure out your ballistics?
I use a ballistics calculator, much like Stralock Pro, but you can also use a lot of ammunition manufacturers will have the data for the ballistics and how at each range how much elevation you're going to need to get to that distance.
Okay.
And based on that data, what you want to do is find an optic that's got enough travel and elevation to get to your target at that range. So if you want to shoot at 1,000 yards, whatever caliber you're using, use the basic data to get an understanding of how much you're going to need to dial up to get to your target consistently. You have to think in terms of the elevation that's stated, you only have half of because it's a mechanical zero. You have, if you have 100 minutes of travel, you have 50 above and 50 below the zero, the mechanical zero of the optic.
So if theoretically I have a 50-minute of angle holdover on my gun, should I just find any scope that has 100 MOA, or should I err on the side of caution and look for something else?
It's best to find one with 100 minutes of adjustment, but if you don't, what you can do is get one that has close to that total range that you would need, and also utilize what's called a tapered base. Tapered scope base will actually help you get some of that elevation back from the mechanical zero. So if you have one that's only got 50 total minutes of elevation and you put a 25-minute base on it, it'll help bring that elevation, help you use all the elevation that's available in the total travel versus half the travel.
And I'll still be able to get a 100-yard zero?
You should still be able to get a 100-yard zero, yes.
Great.
And then you also want to think about clarity. If you can't see the target, it's really hard to hit. Based on, you can either use like a multi-coated lens, you can use a high-density lens, or you can use a low-dispersion lens. So you're basically going from a good picture to a great picture to an amazing picture. Much like you'd see the differences in television, you're going to see the difference in the glass quality of each optic. This is a great place to start for most people. This is the Argos Btr. This particular scope is a 6-24 by 50. Now, magnification is not as important as elevation. Magnification will actually highlight water vapor in the air, which is called mirage. Mirage intrudes and causes a blurring on the target at higher magnification. So you may have to back it down enough to be able to see the target. Even with the top glass, you still have the potential for mirage intrusion.
Okay, so necessarily more magnification isn't going to be the best solution for shooting long range.
Right, it actually can be it can be a hindrance more so than a help. Most high magnification scopes do not have as much elevation because of what's called the Erector Tube inside the scope. The Erector Tube is actually what moves up and down when you dial your turret. And when you do dial up, you're actually causing your muzzle to come up and your reticle to come down. So there's a big misconception that it's causing the reticle to go up. This is actually just the opposite. It's articulated.
Okay. All right. So we were talking about the tapered scope bases. Essentially, it's just a bit of a riser that is going to angle the scope further down.
Yes.
So then I'll be able to utilize more of my upward elevation on my scope.
You'll be able to set your zero higher in the travel of the scope. So you'll have the entire column of elevation available to you
instead of just utilizing one half of it.
Exactly.
Okay. You were talking about on magnification. So if we were looking at like the Argos, the 6-24 versus the 8-34, you'd have less adjustment on the 8-34?
Yes. There's approximately 15 minutes of angle difference between the two, which can make or break your ability to either have to hold over or your total elevation adjustment. If you want to just dial and put the crosshairs on the target, it makes it easier to have more elevation and less magnification. And you also again, going back to mirage, you limit the amount of mirage that can intrude at the lower magnification.
Okay, great.
Now in a situation where you want to use it for like a spotting scope as well, that extra magnification can help at that point. So you don't necessarily want to stay completely away from it, but you only want to get as much magnification as you think you're going to need for the distance you're going to shoot. Going back to glass. Now, the density of the glass makes a huge difference in mirage intrusion. High density glass and low dispersion glass actually help you cut through visually on mirage. So the more you spend on a scope, the better the glass you get. The better, and basically buy the best scope you can afford to buy. You'll never be upset with buying better glass.
So other than helping me see through mirage, what else is better glass going to do for me?
It's going to sharpen up the image of your target. You're also going to be able to see your impacts on target much easier. Clear is better, and it's as simple as it gets. It's any kind of a murky optic to try to see anything, whether you're looking through a spotting scope to see or to spot with, or a rifle scope to see your target. If you can't see it, you can't hit it.
All right, so I've got a Remington 700 and 6.5 Creedmoor. Can you help me find a scope?
Absolutely. Obviously, my favorite is this one here. This is the Cronus Btr. This has a great deal of elevation. It is 32 mils or 125 minutes of elevation. More than enough travel to get you to 1,000 yards. Scope clarity or glass clarity on this is second to none. Now, price-wise, this is set up at $1,800.
It's a bit out of my budget.
Okay.
Is there something for the more frugal-minded?
Yes. This is the Aries Btr. We have it in two magnification ranges, 4.5 to 27 or 2.5 to 15. I personally use a 2.5 to 15. It's got a retail price point of $800.
And that's more than enough magnification for me to see a 1 minute of angle target at 1,000?
Absolutely. I'm actually taking my 308 at the 1,250 yards.
Can I see it?
Absolutely.
What's the next step down?
So
I like middle of the road, but I kind of want to see the full range.
Yeah.
So $800. What do I get?
With $800 scope,
this?
you get HD glass, high density glass. You get a very large amount of travel. In the 2.5 to 15, you've got 100 minutes of angle. If you're looking more on the really high value side, the Argos Btr, while it's only got 60 minutes of total elevation, it is a fantastic scope to start off with to get out there until you really discover what you want to do and grow with your shooting. Now you would have to use a tapered base, much like a 20-minute of angle rail, which are easily available anywhere, readily available anywhere. It should get you more than enough elevation to get your 6.5 to 1,000 yards.
Oh, that's that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, Jeff, I really do appreciate your help today. Thank you so much.